All right, Liz, how are you?
Good.
Good. It's
Doing
good to see
well.
you.
You too.
I was just looking at your the binge record that we've been keeping weekly, and I noticed that last week you were at 5 kind of episodes of binge eating, and this week you were down to 3. Yeah. So awesome. So what? Help me understand what's been going on this week. What was involved with the change?
Yeah, good week with the roommate. I had a good conversation with her about like what times are good for boyfriend to be over and kind of giving her better heads up on when I really need silence.
Well, terrific. So what specifically? I mean, I know we've talked a lot about that, but what specifically did you say to her, or how did you bring it up?
I was just telling her that like my studies are really important, and I understand like it's also important that she has time with her boyfriend, but that I would really appreciate that this is both our space and that there are times when like we really need to respect each other's space. And yeah, she responded really well. And
Oh,
she's
nice.
like, yeah, she was like, just really give me a good heads up before
Terrific.
you, yeah, and that we kind of decided like certain times are more appropriate for them to have the living room and not. So.
Right. Yeah, because I think that's really similar. I know we kind of talked about that, and because you remember like a few sessions ago, I was kind of wondering whether or not she really got it in terms of what you were feeling, because it seems like one of the ways that we talked about that before in terms of like, when we were first starting that. Oftentimes, one of the ways that you manage your feelings is you think you are letting people know what you're feeling, but it doesn't really come out. And I know that it was something that you and I had to really kind of work out. But it sounds like that you were able to talk with her and that she heard you. And as I kind of thought that she was actually really responsive in a very positive way. So
yeah, I think being a little more direct was helpful.
no, it's really nice. It's really nice. Well, I think too you've been able to do that more with me, and I feel like that's been really helpful. I know I've been kind of pushing you on that, and that's been hard, but I feel like it's been really nice because I feel like it's really been helpful with your relationship with Kathy. So that's fantastic. And also, again, I know that I've keep like saying this over and over again, but as you've worked on these things, it's been really notable that it's really had a nice and positive effect on your eating, because it seems like you've really seen a lot of real nice improvement. So awesome. Anything else that so you had a really good conversation with Kathy. Anything else going on this week?
Yeah, I got to spend some time with Brooke.
Oh, nice.
I went home for 2 days and I was with my mom and Brooke. So.
Okay. So is she still 6, or did she have a birthday recently?
She's almost 7.
Oh, that's great. Almost 7. Great. Any plans for birthday for her, or what are you guys going to do?
She's really into Frozen.
Okay.
So.
Anything Frozen's good.
Anything Frozen is good.
Okay. Yes. Okay, that sounds terrific. And so then you spent some time with her, so obviously that was real positive for you. Did you, when you were there, did you have any opportunity to, visit with your mom, or how did that go?
I feel like my mom was around. Like we kind of all spent time together, and like she asked about school, and I was able to like tell her a little more about school and how things are going. And yeah, we didn't really get like one-on-one time.
How did that feel for you in terms of like, for her? I know that you talked about not really liking that she all of a sudden is deciding now that she wants to really be kind of like, the good mother and kind of like be involved in your life. But how is it for her to kind of like want to know how things have been going for you?
I mean, I've kind of like have allowed myself to tell her, I guess, how things have been going. But I mean, like to an extent, like it was like with Brooke and whatnot, like we didn't really sit down, just us two together.
So kind of what we had discussed, kind of that you've been allowing yourself to be more connected with her, but you're still kind of keeping a little bit of a boundary. Yeah. Well, I'm sure it would be really hard to trust her after everything that's gone on, with kind of the infidelity issue with your dad, or at least it's just, kind of like the wondering about that. I mean, I think you kind of know that was probably what was going on, but then, and then moving you, how harsh and critical she was, issues with Brooke. I still even remember too, for her to have gotten to the point where she wouldn't even let you like go to your grandmother's funeral, or at least, kind of, so all those things have been so like, front and center, and so now to feel like that she's made this real dramatic shift and, wanting to start being a mom, but sounds like that you're really working to try to manage that in a better way.
Yeah, I mean, like we still butt heads a little bit. And
I'm sure.
Pressuring, but
Yeah. Yeah, but when you do butt heads, what is it? What happens in terms of your eating when you guys kind of like when you feel like that there's a little bit of a friction?
I mean, I guess that's like kind of what leads back to things. Like things were really good this weekend for the most part, and then kind of when I was leaving, she just like kind of just brought up things about wanting to know more about life and whatnot and what's going on at school and if I'm seeing anyone. And yeah, it just, I'm like, we don't have that relationship.
Right. So that felt really stressful.
So I'd say like when I got back to school, like right after that is.
Okay. Yeah.
And she like called me.
Well, it makes a lot of sense because again, like I know that we've really reviewed this quite a bit, but historically that's how it's been. That's really been a real, and I mean it really clarifies why we're working on this is because it's so clear that when the two of you have like these rough patches, that it really all of a sudden evokes all these like negative feelings, and that's when food like really kicks
she makes
in.
little comments still,
Yeah.
seeing what I'm wearing, like
Right.
that looks cute.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. So it's really hard to, I can understand that it's really hard to let that go. I mean, because obviously there's a lot of feelings that you have about that. Yeah. Yeah. But on the other hand, too, it seems like that, things have been going really well. How have things been going in terms of just in general, like school, friendships, anything else that's kind of on the horizon?
Yeah, kind of seeing a guy. So that's fun.
Oh. I won't get too excited about that, but tell me about him.
Yeah, you sound like my mother.
No, you have to at least give me his name. What's his name?
His name is Alan.
Alan, okay, all right. Well, did you all right, I'm not going to blow this out of proportion, but how did that kind of come about?
We had class together and kind of went and studied at a coffee shop. And then just kind of asked to like do a movie night, and it was like chill and good. And,
nice.
Yeah, no,
nice.
like, yeah.
Nice. That's great. Oh, I'm really happy. That's great. So a lot of really nice things that are going on. Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah, so then for you to go like from, because, we kind of got going with this thing, it was kind of like you were full on binge eating, virtually every day, sometimes twice a day, and now to be down to, 3, like in the space of like, just like 7-8 weeks is, pretty remarkable. So no, I'm really pleased with how hard you've been working because you've really been pushing yourself. I really appreciate it. And I know this stuff with your mom is particularly hard. It's been particularly hard for you.
I guess like not being able to, I don't feel comfortable really telling her yet about.
Right. And you may not, I mean, it's like, I know that we talked about there's like, maybe there are times when you just don't really want to share some of that stuff, and I think sometimes my experience has been some parents like, the goal is not to make her feel bad. If you would want to share it, you'd want to share it knowing that she would hold on to that and keep it and really connect with you around it and want to be helpful rather than like, oh yeah, you were so mean to me, now I have an eating disorder, because then that feels, that doesn't feel quite right. And I know that that's, I know that you have a lot of hard feelings, but I don't really feel like that's how you'd want that to go, Yeah. And I know we've talked about it a lot, but how are things going with your dad?
Good. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
He's doing well. Hoping that he's coming up here to school to see me.
Oh, nice. When's he planning to visit?
A couple weeks.
Great.
Football game.
Oh, nice. That'll be really nice for you to spend time with him. That's great. That's really great. Yeah. So let's talk some more about this thing with your mom, because I feel like that, I mean, I know it's tough, but I guess I've been thinking about this a lot, and especially after last session, that given the fact that, you and Brooke are so close, and it does feel like that your mom is, at least she seems like she's trying to make an attempt to connect with you. Whether or not, at what point would you feel like that what would you need from her in order to feel like that you could kind of like, maybe not let down the walls, but kind of soften those a little bit? I mean, is there something is there something that, like, if you could ask her, like, okay, Mom, if you did this, then I would do this. Not that you would do that, but I just wondered if, like, ideally, what would you like to see in order to feel like that you could connect with her more?
I mean, like, I wish she really recognized, like, kind of the pressures that she put on me back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just, like, now to just, I don't know, just kind of be there in the moment instead of, like, trying so hard to, like, I don't know, because things still come out. Like, she still makes her little comments about things.
Yeah. I know we talked about this, but have you gotten to the point yet where you felt like that you could, like, even let her know that puts a lot of pressure on you, or that comment that she makes kind of hurt your feelings? Because I know that in the moment you feel it, but what would it be like for you if you were to just, like, say, like, I know that you mean well. I mean, maybe she doesn't, but maybe it's sometimes important to approach it that way, but it really hurts my feelings, or, I feel like that really puts a lot of pressure on me to look a particular way, and, so.
I mean, I am seeing that I, like, starting to see that she does mean well. Yeah, but, yeah, I guess I could definitely get to that point of being able to really express that to her.
Right, because I know that you did that. You've done that with your roommate. I know there have been other times when people have done that, because I know that that's been kind of part of the bigger issue, is just knowing what it is you're feeling and also being able to kind of give voice to that. And, I was thinking about that in relationship with your mom, because it does seem like that every once in a while she kind of, like, jabs you, or she'll send something out, and the way that you take it in is more like harsh, critical, hurt, and I just don't know, like, it's kind of like with Kathy, when you finally talk with her, how it was like, oh, of course, like, I'll try to be more sensitive, and I'm not really sure, whether or not your mom would be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
that's something that she could do. Or not.
I guess I worry that, because we've always been kind of defensive towards each other, that I just worry that, like, that will happen again. I mean, I don't know, like, it might not, because of how things have been.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right.
I guess I'm worried that.
Yeah. Well, I think there are times, too, when I wonder if, like, maybe if there's a time when you say something, like, I know there have been times when you kind of snap back at her, or you'll kind of, like, barb her or kind of jab her a little bit. What if, again, what if you thought about, like, because it sounds like that you're really aware when you do that, because you know that when she says something, you have a tendency to jab back. You could just say, I realize that was a jab at you, and I'm really sorry. I aware that sometimes I kind of get really critical with you, and I don't feel very good about that. I wonder how she would, if that would, what that would do. Maybe it wouldn't do anything, or it may make you feel a little bit too vulnerable. But you think about it. I mean, and kind of mull that over in your mind about what that might be like. Because my experience has been that sometimes, I hate the phrase "be a bigger person," because I didn't want that to come across that way. But sometimes, in order to change relationships, somebody has to be willing to kind of be willing to do something just a little different. And since it seems like you have a growing awareness of, the interactions that you have with her, I wonder if that might be worthwhile.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, mull it over and think about it, and we'll keep talking about it. But yeah, it sounds like it was a really terrific week, and you've been working really hard, and it really pays off, because again, the more you've done that, we've seen real positive impact on your eating. So, nice.